So to start off, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Marialid Feliciano. I am a bilingual speech and language pathologist. I have been working as a speech and language pathologist since 1999. So over 25 years of experience.
So my first question is, could you tell me a little bit about your work environment?
Yes, I work for a local government. The program is part of the ITC Virginia. Locally is ITC Loudoun, which ITC stands for Infant and Toddler Connection. And what we do is actually we evaluate children and we provide services to their child and a caregiver. We use
Since you've been doing SLP for 25 years, have you worked in different environments? Could you tell me about the ones that you've worked in?
So I started working in New York it was a private company who was offering services in different schools. Then after that, I moved to Florida and then I worked for the school district in Central Florida. And then when I moved to Virginia, I started working with ITC Loudoun.
Okay. Wow, so you worked for basically like a contractor for SLP services? And
Yeah.
then you also worked in the schools and then also were able to work for the government where you provide in-home care.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great, very cool. Why do clients come to you for help as an SLP?
They come to us because there is a concern. The concern might be coming from a pediatrician. It might come, sometimes we get actually referrals from CPS. And then also we have also referrals from parents.
Okay.
If you look into, you Google speech, language concerns or whatever in Loudoun County, then we might be on the list. So they come to us. So there are times when even hospitals will refer us.
Oh, so being a speech language pathologist isn't just giving speech therapy. It seems like it involves a lot of social working as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, at least in here, this environment where I'm
Yeah.
working right now. And that's kind of different from what I did before, because when I work in the schools, I will work with, other colleagues and will share experiences outside of the therapy room. Um,
What are your days typically like as an SLP?
Okay, so I work Monday through Friday, and I offer therapies or treatment to children 0 to 3, and also I evaluate with a colleague. There's a team that is sent to the homes, and typically I have 4 evaluations a week, and then there are other days where I just see clients and offer therapy. So I schedule my own therapies.
Very interesting. So there's a lot of variety in your day. It's not always the same routine.
Not always. And also when you work with families, you might think that you're going for something and it depends. That's why you have to be a good listener. And there are times when you pick one of the goals that was written during the IFSB development. The other times they need support with something completely different that is not even listed there.
What kind of professionals do you generally work with?
So I work with, I have a manager, a program manager. We have supervisors. So our team is divided into 3 teams, smaller teams. And we have service coordinators. These are the people that do the intakes. Those are the ones that typically have the most contact with families when they come in. And every family is assigned a service coordinator. We have SLPs, we have occupational therapists, we have physical therapists, we have developmental specialists. these are, like sometimes we call them teachers or not, but yeah. And we also have social workers, and which is not every program in Virginia has the privilege of having a social worker. And we actually have a music therapist with
Oh,
us.
wow. Okay, so it sounds like you work with a bunch of different types of human service professionals. What made you, since there's all these options in human services, what made you choose SLP as your career choice?
Um, as I mentioned, I'm also a social worker. So when I was in my second year, this school came to just like talk to students who were interested about programs they have at that particular school. I just passed by and it caught my attention. I watched a video and I saw kind of myself doing it. I'm like, oh, I could do that. And then from there, I just inquire more about prerequisites and all these other things needed. And I'm like, I think I can do it. So yeah, but you just, I saw them, I watched a video and I saw, yeah, I could do this. And I was looking, actually, I knew I wanted to do a master's in something. I didn't know in what. So yeah, after, watching the video, I'm like, okay, I think this is what I like.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's actually, I decided my second year of college that I did want to completely change my major and become an SLP. So it's pretty cool that we're similar in that way as well.
Yeah.
So now that we're talking about grad school and master's programs, what qualifications are needed for your position?
In my particular position as an SLP, because depending if you're an OT or PT,
Yeah.
you might only need a bachelor's, but for mine, we need to have a master's degree in speech. Also, you need to have a state license as an SLP as well, and also they ask for the ACHA certification, which is the American Speech and Hearing Association. So they certify you. So what you have to do after you get certified, you have to do some hours. There's a bunch of things that I'm not going to get into right now, but they certify nationally. So,
Okay.
and then you need also a local license from your state.
Right.
You need
So
to
as
have the
long as,
prerequisites.
yeah,
Then-
prerequisites, then applying for grad school, then state licensing,
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of
and
things.
then
But don't get overwhelmed, look to see if you see yourself. You like to serve others. You're
Mhm,
flexible, you have the passion for it. You need to have the passion of helping
mhm,
others. Flexibility that you don't know what you're going to encounter at times.
yeah,
And you have to be a good listener. There are times is things behind what they can express with their voice. You have to look at
okay,
body language,
yeah.
voice. There's a lot of things involved.
So in Virginia, since I know that you practice in Virginia, what's the average salary for an
But
SLP?
I think the average might be high 70s.
Okay,
And 120. So again, it depends on your experience, and there's a lot of things. Mhm.
so being bilingual, do you think that's impacted your salary at all or your job opportunities? What do you think about that?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Especially in Virginia and some states is a plus being bilingual.
Hmm.
Even so, let's say that we have two SLPs in my program, and we both have 25 years of experience. I make 3% more. You spoke
Oh,
another language,
yeah,
but when with the schools, no, school says again, it's like a scale. You have 10 years of experience, you're starting here. This is how
yeah,
you're making. But yeah, in Florida, I remember for the school district I worked for, you could have your state license, Florida state license. And then for having your C's, then I jumped a little bit higher.
okay,
And in that, so there are different things, but it's pretty
yeah,
standard. Like if
okay,
you prove this, you get this.
okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
What personal and professional qualities do you think are important for your
I
position?
think you have to be flexible
Okay.
and you cannot be really hard on yourself because the progress a child makes is not only on you. And you have to be conscious about that. You
Okay.
can go there, you could be the best LFP, you can share strategies, you can model to the family on how to do it. But if they don't practice, when you get there next time, you can be in the same spot.
Okay.
I think you have to be like conscious of that. That is not only, you know, the progress of a child doesn't depend only on you. You can do your part and you can be excellent. And again, if they don't follow through, there's not much. You have to be a good listener too. Again, there's a lot of things behind what someone can say or what you can see. So you have to kind of be sensitive to that. And also another is that sensitive in general to cultures, to the child, you know, child might be, you know, sick or, you know, starting to get something, and that's why he's acting up like this. Maybe the mother is going through a lot of things. So you have to be sensitive, receptive, flexible again. Yeah, I think those are pretty things are needed. Oh, and I can't really stop saying about your passion. You
Mhm.
can see when someone's passionate about what they do, the way they say things, and how this joy that brings to them, talking about this family or this child. So I think this um, career requires a lot of passion.
And professional qualities, are there as many professional qualities that you need? What would you say is important for this role?
I think that you have to be friendly
Yeah.
too, like, you know, because when you go to a child's home, and this is a person they don't know, so there's something about, you know, big smile and you're playful. I think that's something that is a quality needed there. So you need to have some social skills.
Yeah.
Pragmatics is really important.
Yeah.
Just be flexible and just kind of, you know, I'm open to learn and also get that tool, box tool, like
Hmm.
bigger by learning from others.
Yeah. Those, yeah, sound like very important qualities to have. It's actually interesting in class when we talk about human service professionals, we've kind of covered all of the professional and personal qualities that you just talked about.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Are there any kinds of conflicts you face as an SLP? Conflicts like in your day to day, like with parents, with your clients, coworkers, other professionals that you're working with?
I have a background in autism, so I am pretty confident sharing with the family in a sensitive way that maybe we have to, because we don't diagnose that. We just
Right.
ask questions, we type a report, we write a plan and goals to help the child improve. And then for a child to get a diagnosis, we tell them where to go and, you know, go to the pediatrician and ask for this specific evaluation. And, you know, so if I'm seeing difficulties on something, I like to, in a sensitive way and careful and professional way, tell the parents how what I'm seeing. Other people think that you need to give the families more time.
Okay.
And then so that's why sometimes it could be some conflict on how to approach something and how much you can wait.
Okay, yeah. So you can kind of let the parents know what you suspect, and then you just can't do the official diagnosis yourself, and you suggest that
We
they,
just describe the child was observed to
right.
these, the parents share this, and then from there, so when you read the report, you see the picture of the child, but then we're not diagnosing.
Have there been any significant changes in your field since you've started working as a speech language pathologist?
There are a lot of changes, but I
Yeah.
think one that kind of threw me off a little bit, again, I have worked with children face to face, either in their homes or in the school,
Hmm.
in a therapy room. When COVID started or the pandemic started, really hard, and not only me, a lot of professionals too. I remember getting stressed and being in front of a computer all the time, not on the floor anymore, because when you go from one home to the other, you have time to drink something, use the bathroom. Sometimes you sit on the floor with the child, you play, but here is mainly in front of a computer, trying to model things that you were before doing in person, doing it the best you can just through the screen. But this was something that, and I think even as a program, our program went through a lot of
Yeah.
stressful times during
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Yeah. What do you think are the most difficult or challenging parts of your work right now?
Sometimes when you see, and this is a particular thing that had happened to me a couple of times, it doesn't happen that often. But there are families that the child has a lot of potential, but they're not working with their child. They're not practicing. They're not incorporating this throughout their daily interactions. So they
Yeah.
don't give the child opportunities. And that's sad, because I'm like, okay, and sometimes you do really well. So everything goes well during the session. So you're very hopeful. So when you go there next time, you have this
Yeah.
expectations, and then nothing happened. The question is that when there's not that engagement coming, not only from the parents, it could be sometimes whoever is the caregiver. Sometimes we work at daycares. So sometimes, you have really good teachers that they know, and they know what you're there. They all the time, they're not engaged,
Right.
and you still have to go and do the best you can
Yeah.
to
I agree.
support.
That would be pretty
I think that's,
challenging.
to me, that's challenging. Again,
Yeah.
like not having like that cooperation or engagement. Other things, but sometimes when there's disagreements, but we try to manage really
Right.
those disagreements within colleagues, really,
Hmm.
really well. There are times when, respectful, you say, oh, I will, address that this way, or things like that.
Hmm.
So that's not really difficult. I think over time you learn to share your, um, things with others, being sensitive, and, being good listener. When I started 20 some years ago, we were able to bring toys and things with us. So I knew we're working on animal sounds. So if I had a bag of, animal figurines, or I had you name it, I'll bring it with me. So I was in control of what I was
Hmm.
going to do there.
Right.
Then we came to like, no, we're doing more coaching. You use
Okay.
whatever they have in their home. And sometimes when you bring it to home, because sometimes we get the donations, but you leave it there. Because if you think about it, you bring something that the child plays with for an hour and then doesn't have access for it. How is the family going to follow through and practice? It'll give you, bringing your own tools will give you some control. Now,
Yeah.
what I'm doing, I will say that no
But I
control, and there's
understand how it's like very difficult as an SLP to not have your own tools, toys, like worksheets to
yeah,
leave with the kids. That can be,
yeah.
yeah.
When you
It
have a
makes
group.
sense, but it's hard. Yeah. Okay. So one of my last questions is, what would you say is the most satisfying aspect of the work that you are doing as an SLP?
One of them is just seeing the child, the progress.
Yeah.
When you go for a 6 month review, or you go for an annual, and you can see like, oh my God, he met all the goals, or he
Yeah.
met 8 out of 9. That, I think, makes you like, I think that's after like a couple months, but then daily gains. I have families that they share with me videos. Like, I remember one time, actually it was just recently, it was after I finished working with them, but he didn't know how to blow a candle. And mom said, I want to practice. And I gave her, different techniques, and, you can do this, you can do that. And then she actually sent me a video of him blowing for the first time at 3 years old, blowing a candle. Then when you have families that they send you again another video of something, some progress, even after, and I think you have made a change, or I don't know, in a family when after services they still send you a picture of their child's first day of school or something like that. So
Mhm.
that to me, that's very satisfying. When you go from a child crying and not even kind of like wanting to work with you, to like, she's here, like, to play with me. That makes my heart like, there are different things. There's a lot of satisfaction here again, but you need to have passion, because that will be meaningless if
If
you
you
do
didn't,
not have
yeah.
passion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool hearing about all the things that make work satisfying for you. Especially like also like having like the like personal relationship like with your clients after you're not doing SLP for them anymore. I think that's really special.
Again, yeah, birthday parties after, and again, that those are things that if you're a social person,
Yeah,
and you know, I don't
yeah.
know, makes you happy.
Sounds like a very rewarding sounds like a very
Exactly.
rewarding profession.
There are
Um, do you have any advice for students preparing to enter the SLP field?
My advice will be to study. There are going to be times when you're going to have to study a lot. There's
Mhm.
a lot of challenging classes. Do not get discouraged by, maybe how hard might be a class. Try to learn as possible. Study in groups. That's kind of the best advice I can give. Even if you think you know a lot, just like explaining things to your friends or other students might help you kind of clarify and just like visualize things better. Um, Trust yourself. I think as when you graduate, or even when, listen to professors, ask questions. Please don't keep them to yourself. Just ask, those questions that you might have. I think it's better just to kind of know and clarify those. You're not gonna look dumb. Don't worry about it. It's just ask those questions. Another is to be humble. I think be humble, as you are not gonna know everything. Maybe you had really good grades when you were doing the bachelor's, but it might be more difficult now. But just things are gonna get better. So yeah, and then just sick is that passion needed. It's there. And do you have the passion, you go through, different challenges, well, and you'll be successful. Yes, and I think that's my advice.
Nice.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
and
for
than thank you
sharing
for
that.
having me.
Yeah,
No,
thank you
thank you
so much
for,
for the
having
meeting.
me.
Yeah, it was very informative. I loved
Welcome.
hearing
You're
from you.
welcome.